Welcome to week 4 of the 2020 WebCenter Olympics. I know the Summer Olympics unfortunately are getting postponed until 2021 to make sure everyone can be safe. But here with the WebCenter division, we are continuing with our Olympic Games, and I hope that you can be a gold medalist and Olympic champion as well. Now, over the past couple weeks, we've talked about organizing and preparing for success, as well as making your candidate list, doing some current research. And then last week we talked about contacting these individuals to start setting up conversations, discussion points, networking sessions, as well as those 10 to 15-minute consultation appointments. Now we're going to take that and move forward through the process and start talking about making that consultation bridge into a demonstration or an appointment with a product specialist, but really how to make sure that you've got the most qualified appointment so that you can increase your chances of success. So we always have to remember that it comes down to relationship marketing, one-to-one marketing, listening for people that have a need, and then sharing stories and testimonials and sharing information, and then making the recommendation, right? And we realize that the recommendation is to get on an appointment with a product specialist to help them educate your candidate on how they can improve their online or digital marketing. So all along this process, even in the consultation, it continues to be about the relationship. So you must be interested in them, right? You gain trust when you listen to people. The more you get them talking, the more opportunities you give yourself to identify needs, not solve problems, but identify needs in their business, right? The more opportunities you have to solve that problem for them. Again, when you start asking questions, you're steering the conversation about their favorite subject, and that is to enhance building that relationship, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So think to yourself, are you interesting? Are you an interesting person? Are you constantly telling, presenting, selling, lecturing, talking about yourself, being very forward and direct? Who is the one who's doing the majority of the talking? That's a great barometer of what kind of personality you have. And a lot of us need to just kind of slow down, stop, take a breath, and give our candidates the opportunity to talk to us, right? And that's when you are interested, right? Are you interested in them genuinely? Are you listening? Are you asking them questions? Are you sharing information and selling information, or sharing the idea of getting an appointment with a professional? Are you talking about the prospect or the candidate? And are you implementing what we call the art of listening? And that's an acronym for acknowledge, rephrase, and a thoughtful comment. So think to yourself, if you have a challenge with really focusing on listening to candidates and prospects, I want you to think about the art of listening. I want you to acknowledge what they've said so they know that they've been heard. I want you to rephrase what you heard to make sure that you are on the same page. And then I want you to add a thoughtful comment. Something might go as much as, I understand that right now you're having a challenge having the time to fit in your social media management. What I hear you saying is that you're so busy at your job or functioning in your business that you have no time to really focus on your Facebook channel. I know a lot of professionals that are in that same situation because they're self-employed. And while they might be focusing on a client, they have less chance to focus on their business and their marketing. Am I hearing you correctly? Now, that gives them a chance to clarify or really expand upon that. But what does that tell them? It tells them that you heard them, that you listened, and that you're kind of formulating some thoughts on ways to help them. And that means that you are becoming of value, a person of value, someone they can trust, and really is bridging that relationship gap where it might be someone who was more of a colder contact, but now what's happening is you're enhancing that in their mind. So which one do you think you are, right? You have to take an inventory of yourself. I would like you, at every conversation you have, I want you to think about where you sit on that. Are you interested or interesting? And what's funny is that the interested person actually becomes the interesting person, right? People then become attracted to you because you have shown a genuine interest in them. So I want you to think about every relationship you have, whether it's with your children, with your spouse or a significant other, with your business partners, your business associates, your candidates, and even in the community. I want you to think about every time you're out and speaking with other people, where do you sit? And this is a chance to practice, right? When you're out and about and you're having conversations, you're on the phone, you're on a Zoom call, you're doing a video chat, you're Skyping, you're FaceTiming, you're in person. I want you to really step away from that conversation, and I want you to think about where you are and what you can improve upon every single time. And we know that those that are incredible professionals and they have this consultative sales approach, they do this, right? And I'm not saying walk away from your conversation and take out a notebook, but I'm saying every time that you have a conversation with someone and there's communication, I want you to step away from that conversation and do a little bit of digging on yourself on ways that you can have improved that conversation or the next communication with that individual. Okay, so what questions can you ask in a consultation? Well, we've got them all for you. We've got them in the 15-minute consultations, and that's going to help you have qualified quality appointments. So we've got one for website design and management. We've got one for digital and social media marketing. And of course, we have one for business spending. You can download these from support materials. You can download them from mawc411.com under support. And of course, you can also purchase them in certain markets from unfranchise.com. So now that we're talking about being at a consultation appointment, you're either face-to-face, you're on the phone, you're on a Zoom chat, you're just communicating. You want to make sure that you don't miss anything. You might think that you'll remember everything about the conversation, but you want to take notes and you want to write down all of the responses, right? Because that's going to give you an opportunity to do further research, right? The whole idea was the initial research was very preliminary. Then you had the consultation. You might have done a little bit more going into the consultation. Now you've had the consultation and maybe you found out some information that you didn't realize that you can go back and do a little bit more digging and homework and preparation as you lead them into a product specialist appointment, right? So at the consultation, you're not discussing solutions, right? You're not going to be talking about pitching or promoting or our products and services. You really need to get them into that next phase or next step. So ultimately, you want to listen a lot, right? Use it as an opportunity to identify all decision makers. That's another incredible piece of information that can help you or harm you. So in these meetings and conversations, you want to identify not only the people that can make a decision for that business, but also anyone who might influence that decision. It could be a business partner, a business associate, a trusted colleague. It could be a spouse. It could be a child. It could be anyone that person you're having a conversation with is going to listen to that may influence their buying decision. You need to get them involved. And ultimately, you want to get them excited to discover the solutions with a product specialist, right? And you can do that with your closing statements, which we'll get to. So you're continuing along this relationship is to build rapport. You're asking questions, getting conversations about them. People will be attracted when you show that you care, that you're excited about them, and you're interested in their business. People buy you. Again, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So from this consultation, this 10 to 15 minute communication, you're simply scheduling an appointment with a product specialist, and that is your close. Your close is just to book a follow-up appointment. So you know that it's a successful meeting if that follow-up was booked. So you want to make sure that you've got your available schedule, but also you may want to look into the sales support calendar to see what times are available for both digital marketing appointments as well as website sales appointments. So you want to look at that. I will give you a quick piece of information that may help as well. That calendar is available through m.mawebcenters.com. So if you go to m.mawebcenters.com, you can actually log in and see the official sales calendar. So you can book it through your mobile device as well. So you're going to schedule an appointment with the product specialist to address their needs. Any questions, any comments, any concerns, any objections, this gives you an opportunity to say, that's a great question. I'll make sure that they handle that in your appointment. I'm not sure of the answer, the best way to handle that. I'll make sure that I write that in my notes to make sure that they answer that in our conversation. What you're doing is you're offloading responsibility and delegating that to the product specialist, and that's going to encourage your candidate to want to show up to that appointment. Of course, always send a heartfelt communication, provide referrals to them, and continue that relationship. So you might want to send them a quick text message, a Facebook message, an email, another quick phone call, a voice message, a handwritten note, just saying, Thank you for your time. I really appreciate our time together and hope that we can help each other out, right? That's going to go a long way, especially if they're not ready to schedule that appointment with the product specialist. You can simply follow up or book a follow-up appointment in a month or 2 months or 3 months when it is best for them. But keeping that conversation going and that communication thread going enhances that relationship. Again, if you have a service-based industry that you just sat down with, you want to identify who is their target market, who is their ideal customer or client, because your job over the next 7 to 10 days is to identify someone that you can refer to them. And that is an advanced technique. Identifying referrals for their business will make them perceive this relationship as highly valuable because you're leading them to business as well. And then it can be a great way for them to pay you back as well and to send you referrals. Okay, so you want to edify the product specialist as you're closing them into this appointment. It's just a strong referral. You put weight into it, saying that you work with a great company, that they are the specialists, they're the experts in that field, and they're going to offer the solution to that problem. It takes the pressure off of you, so simply edify that product specialist. If you're booking an SEO appointment, say, great, we're going to get you in touch and on an appointment with our top SEO expert. If you're doing a social media appointment, great, we're going to get you in front of our social media specialist. If it's a website appointment, we're going to get you in front of someone who has all the answers about web design and web development. I'll make sure that we put you in touch with our top website specialists, right? So what you say is going to depend on what you learned, right? And you can really come back to some of those tie downs, which is they're going to make sure that they address how you're concerned about your search engine rankings and your competitors showing up above you. Or they're going to make sure they address your needs on a website and being able to manage that website on your own going forward, so you're not stuck waiting for a web designer to do the work for you. You want to really tie those appointments down by letting them know that you heard them, you know their challenge, the specialist will answer their question, but not only that, they're going to customize that and tailor it towards what their real concern or need is. So how do we make sure that we have qualified appointments? Well, the first is making sure that when we do our prospect research, you need to know a little bit of information in advance because it's going to lead to a better discovery conversation, that consultation appointment. You're going to do that before you ever contact that prospect, right? Before you ever contact that candidate, you're doing a little bit of that preliminary research. You're going to Google the prospects. You're going to write down a couple things you notice. You're going to visit their website. We've talked about that, right? You're going to use that as information to ask great questions. Now, you don't want to go into that 15 or 10-minute conversation and blast them. Hey, I looked at your website. I think it's terrible. I didn't like how it wasn't mobile friendly. I didn't like how I couldn't click on the buttons. I noticed that I did a search and all your competitors showed up and you didn't. Why aren't you doing Google advertising? And your social media is terrible. You haven't posted since 2018. What's wrong with you? That's not going to be a great way to lead into this conversation, right? But you can use this information to ask assumptive questions. Hey, just curious, do you know where you currently rank on Google? For a certain keyword, like Italian restaurants, do you know where you rank? Do you have any competitors that are outranking you? They might have a conversation. They might have their finger on the pulse. They might know this. They may not. They may pull out their phone or computer and actually do the search right there. The idea is that it gets them engaged in some of that research you did. You know, one thing I noticed on your website is that when I click on menu, it downloads a PDF. Is there a reason why you had it set up that way? Right? You're asking questions to make them think, and it also shows that candidate that you did your homework and you're there to help them. Right? Now, again, you can form this in the way of a question, and that's going to help build up value and perceived value in this relationship. Now, once you've done the consultation, right, you want to make sure that you're going to confirm the decision makers. You need to do this prior to setting up an appointment with sales support. If someone's not ready to commit to an appointment, you need to know that up front, right? You can download all the support materials at mawc411.com, but use all this information that they share with you and that you've done in research to really solidify a great appointment. And enter these notes in the calendar when you're going through the sales appointment wizard. Now, you don't want to write it in a paragraph form. These professionals have a limited amount of time to read about your candidate. So I encourage just quick little bullet points that you want to make sure, maybe short little phrases or sentences, but don't write it in a paragraph form. Now, when they contact you prior to the appointment, you have a chance to really talk about some of the top hot buttons that you wrote down in those notes and why those are important, right? So from the prospect research, you're going to do that from your candidate list. You're doing maybe a minute to 2 minutes to 3 minutes of basic research. You contact that candidate to schedule a consultation call or appointment. When they agree to that, now you're going to do a little bit more digging. You're going to do a little bit more research. Then you're going to meet with them and do a 15-minute consultation, identify what's most important to them, take that information, do a little bit more research. Now you've got a highly qualified appointment. You know it's going to motivate them to take action. Now, with that, you're going to increase your sales ratio, meaning less appointments with sales support to close sales, but also you're going to be able to increase the retail profit and the sales price because it is a highly valuable solution to answer their needs. So what is a qualified appointment, right? Look at these different categories, right? Decision makers, you're looking for the business owner. You're also looking for partners, marketing, other staff, people with input, other people that have influence in that buying decision. The budget. How can you look at budget? A lot of people have a hard time asking, what is your budget for online marketing? So let's find other ways to determine their budget. How about this? Are they currently advertising anywhere else? How much are they spending in local advertising? How much are they spending with their local newspaper in print ads, yellow pages? Where are they doing signage? Are they doing any billboards? Are they using any multimedia, using television, radio? Are they doing any streaming services such as YouTube, online display ads? Are they maybe advertising online with other websites, right? What are they doing for their current website? Do they have any Google advertising? When they answer these questions, it's going to give you a better idea of whether or not they're investing money into their marketing, right? You might not know the exact budget, but you can have a better idea in terms of how much they're willing to invest into their marketing to see a return on their investment. Now, a professional tip would be if you know that they are maybe advertising on a billboard or maybe they're advertising in a local newspaper, call those companies and identify how much does it cost to run an ad. And the way you do that is you are a business owner. You're calling for rates to determine if you want to advertise in their print ad, in their billboard, in their on their website, because then you have an idea of the rate structure and you also know how much these candidates might be paying in advertising, right? And that's a professional tip to do your homework and know your existing market. And every market is different, right? And London is different than Birmingham, different than Manchester, which is different than Toronto, Canada, different than Singapore, and different than New York City, right? So you need to know your market. Now, interest, is there a need that we can fill? What are the hot buttons? Is it a good potential fit? Now, don't try and just schedule an appointment to say, hey, I scheduled an appointment. Make sure it's a good fit, right? You don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste their time, and you don't want to waste the sales support time. And what about timing? Are they motivated to go now? Are they motivated to take action? Are they in the researching stage? Are they on a time schedule? Do they have events? Do they have something that is creating a sense of urgency? Now you have a better idea of the sales cycle or the pipeline that you're building up. Clarity, strong answer to what do you do? Do they know what you do? Are you able to strongly edify the product specialist? You want to role play, you want to practice. I encourage you each to have an accountability partner and do this. Do it on a video chat, do it on a phone call, and work on your language and your posture, okay? How prepared for the appointment is your prospect and how prepared are you, right? Do they know what to expect? Give them an overview. Look, it's going to take about 30 to 45 minutes, and what we're going to do is talk about search engine optimization and your Google AdWords. We're going to do a little bit of homework on your target market, target audience. We're going to look at your radius. We're also going to look at your competitors. Who are the top 3 competitors in your area? We want to do a little bit of research. We're going to cover this on our call. We'll give you some reports and some numbers in terms of answering those questions. We can't wait to see you there. Okay. Confirmation, confirm the attendance with all decision makers, right? You want to make sure that you have all influencers and decision makers available, right? Find the best time, date, and time zone. Very important when you're working in different time zones to make sure that when you schedule that in the sales calendar, that you schedule it with the appropriate time zone. Is there a phone number? Make sure there's additional phone numbers if you need to get in touch with them. Now, one thing is if you are working with a company that has a landline and they have customers or clients calling that landline, you might want to do this appointment on a cell phone or a second landline. You want to make sure that you don't interrupt their flow of business, right? Have them write down questions in advance that might come to them. And then what we can do is use the confirmation call as a way to further qualify your appointment. The day before your appointment with sales support, they're going to get a text reminder or an email reminder, but you also want to call them with a confirmation. I highly encourage you to use an assumptive confirmation. What I mean is that don't say, hey, are we still on for tomorrow at 10? Or is tomorrow at 10 still okay? That is not showing posture, and that's going to have a high cancellation rate. What you want to do is be assumptive and say, we are so excited. Tomorrow at 10, I was able to get our top website specialist on the phone. But before we can really go forward, they want to make sure that they answered all your questions. So do you have any questions that came to mind? It might be about price. Great. I'll make sure that they handle that. They'll give a full proposal. It might be about the time of the appointment. We expect a website demonstration to be about 45 minutes. Then you can ask certain questions and say, in order to make sure that they tailor this to your needs and really customize this to the best thing for your business. I know we had a conversation, but they had these questions for you that I could ask you to then forward to them that they can address on our call. And then you can ask a couple more questions from your research or those questionnaires, and that way you can enter that information into the appointment wizard. But also, what does it do? It shows the candidate that you really care about having a qualified appointment and that you're not going to waste their time. They're going to want to show up. And those are ways that you can increase your ratio of people showing up to your appointments, but also highly qualify your appointments. So here's your checklist: the time and date of the appointment. Are all of the decision makers available? Exchange and make sure you've got the best contact phone numbers. Confirm that your candidate will be able to be on a computer with an up-to-date browser while they are on the phone, because we're going to do a GoToWebinar screen share with them. Encourage your potential client to write down questions as they go that they might have for the product specialist. So very simple. Once you have all that information, you're going to log on to your WebCenter, and right from the homepage, you're going to click Sales Calendar, schedule a sales appointment. You can also find that under the WebCenter tab. Click on WebCenter and you'll see that you can schedule a sales appointment. And simply go through the wizard. It's very simple to add a contact, add attendees, add the phone numbers. Make sure you have either a templated WebCenter website built for an example, or from their contact record, maybe you already did that. Don't invest a lot of time customizing that. That's what we're going to do in the demonstration appointment. And the final parts of that wizard is going to make sure that you confirm all of those checklists to make sure that you've got all the decision makers and time and availability for them to be on the computer at the same time. Now, some tips for using sales support. Communicate with your product specialist. If you have specific things ahead of time, you can reach out to sales support in the sales support hotline and say, hey, I have some important information that I want to share about my appointment tomorrow. Can you tell me who is going to be running that demonstration appointment for me? And they can help you get an email address that you can add some information. Again, quick bulleted information is going to be best. If you request a pre-call, make sure that you reach out the day before or a couple days before and say, hey, I would really like to have a conversation about this appointment. They'd be glad to do that because they want to help you close appointments. Okay. Now, product specialists are going to call you a few minutes before your appointment and review the notes. Then they're going to tap in and have your candidate on the line. The best way to do that is they're going to ask you questions and say, great, we're going to get Joe on the phone. Are you ready? Yes. They're going to do a three-way conference call and bring Joe into that meeting. Your job when Joe answers is to say, hey, Joe, it's Jason. I'm so excited that we're able to go through this demonstration appointment for us today. I've got our top website specialist on the line, and they're going to share all of the details, features, benefits, and really address some of your concerns about managing your website or whatever their hot button was. So without further ado, here they are. I'm going to mute myself out, but I'll be on the line. Your job is to mute, listen, and learn. Do not interrupt or engage with your product specialist or in that appointment. Let them do their job. Now, if you're on GoToMeeting, there's a chat feature. You can chat with your product specialist during the appointment. However, beware. beware, because you will chat to everyone on that, including your client or candidate. So you want to make sure that if you are going to use the chat feature, be sending a private message to the product specialist and don't reply all. If you are concerned about that being an issue, don't chat at all, right? Don't use the chat feature if you feel like you might mess that part up, right? Your job is to listen and learn as you earn. They're going to go to work for you, and they're going to schedule the follow-ups accordingly. So here's some things that you can expect. They're going to conduct a thorough, customized presentation for your prospect with an online demo. They're going to ask some data mining questions to determine the most important features for them to demonstrate. Especially if you put that in the notes, they're going to use that as a way to assumptively ask that candidate if that's important to them. They're going to build rapport. They're going to negotiate the price. They're going to follow up with your candidate and prospect until they purchase or request to be removed from our list. And they'll follow up with you to keep you abreast of the progress of that sale as well. And they're going to assist in closing that sale. What we can't expect them to do is they are not going to travel to your prospect or candidate's location to present the platform. Now, that is important to know that some candidates think that people are going to show up live to do a demonstration. So when you schedule that appointment, make sure that they know this is an online presentation and a phone call, not a physical appointment, right? Don't expect them to design the site for your client, right? If they're going to do a design package, that's something that we'll take care of in the sale. Don't expect them to provide technical support for your client. They can contact customer care for that, right? And don't expect them to be available 24/7. Although we're open 24/7, this team does not work 24/7, right? They have typical work hours, but we have staff on schedule 24/7 around the clock to address all of our candidates and clients' needs. We just make sure that we know that our support teams have a traditional schedule for themselves. So, are you tracking your activity? Up to this point, you should have a candidate list. You should have done some current research. You should be scheduling consultation appointments or phone calls and then moving them through the process. So in our 12-week action plan or on your own, you should have a notebook. You should have a spreadsheet, maybe in your contact manager. Find a way to make sure that you can track your progress. Who are you contacting? What type of candidate are they? What type of appointments are being booked? Are you adding new people to your list? And going forward. And that's what's going to make sure that you do a good job in following up, because the fortune is in the follow-up. Okay, so a couple quick announcements, right? All sessions are recorded and emailed. I hope that you've been receiving them. If you haven't, make sure that you email us at mawebcenters@marketamerica.com. You should be reporting your activity on your WebCenter Owner Support Facebook group. We want to hear all of your activity. We want to know when you're having great conversations. We want to know when you've had some great appointments. We want to know when you've closed some sales. Now, for our contest, we're tracking the sales information automatically and running those reports. But if you've personally sponsored a new franchise owner or you've added a WebCenter owner to your team, make sure you email us. We want to give you credit for those points. mawebcenters@marketamerica.com, and we will validate that. Now, a WebCenter owner on your team could be an existing team member that just decided to have their own WebCenter. It might be someone who's using the Fast Start Kit. Those all qualify. Now, we also have in the US our WebCenter Pro program. Now, WebCenter Pro partners are full-on franchise owners. You will get credit for personally sponsoring as well as adding a new WebCenter owner to your team. But also, I want you to know that our WebCenter professional affiliate program will also count towards personally sponsored UFO and adding a new WebCenter owner. Although a WebCenter Pro affiliate does not count towards activation and sponsorship as it relates to our MPCP, it will count towards our challenge and recognition. So I wanted to make sure that I made that known. Again, all of that information, just send us an email to mawebcenters@marketamerica.com. So what is your challenge of the week? Well, focus on the weekly exercises. Schedule 5 initial consultation appointments, right? Maybe schedule 1 per day and close 3 of them into a demo with a product specialist. And if you've done your homework and you've prepared your schedule and you've written your candidate list and you've done a little bit of current research, there's no reason why you can't schedule 2 to 3 business candidates per day, schedule 1 of them into a consultation appointment, which is only going to be 10 or 15 minutes and could be done over phone or over Zoom or video chat. And then from those consultations, there's no reason why you can't schedule at least 3 of them into a demonstration appointment with a product specialist. And I can guarantee with that type of activity, you could be on pace to selling at least 1 website per week one design package per week and at least one digital marketing product per week. But you've got to take action. So I want to say that the kickstart to the Olympic season has not only begun, it's in full swing. So let's go ahead and open up the line for some questions. I'll end the recording and we'll go from there.